Right, fellow viewers of Equinoxe Television, thank you so much for being with us on this other edition of the news today, Tuesday. Our major stories this evening. 6 months after President Paul Biya's re-election, Cameroon is still waiting for a new form of government. The delay stands in sharp contrast to the Republic of Congo, where a full cabinet was named just a week after the president's inaugural ceremony. Political analysts will explain more in this news edition. And a plane crash kills at least 13 people, including the pilot, in South Sudan. Meanwhile, over to Nigeria, about 23 children have been abducted from an orphanage in the Kogi state. Those are our lead stories. Details and more when we come back, viewers. Welcome back. Thank you so much for always being with us. We begin this edition of the news from the Southwest region, precisely in the Lebialem division, where amidst concerns over the smooth conduct of the ongoing general population census in Cameroon within the Lebialem division due to security concerns, the senior divisional officer, Ambang Fabian, and the divisional officer have changed or charged the divisional commission to work tirelessly so as to ensure the success of the exercise in the Lebialem division. This was during a meeting in Menji. Rex Afron was there. He now tells us more.
The Lebialem division had been devastated by the severity of the armed conflict that forced many residents to flee their towns and villages. As people begin returning home, the senior divisional officer sees the ongoing population census as an opportunity to take stock of the division's true situation.
So this exercise is a state exercise. We've met all the radios of the division, the mayor of the council, and all the other members for the divisional committee. This division has gone through difficulties and is trying to gain back its feet. We have social services. We need roads. We need water. We need schools. This census exercise will need the size of what can send and what better say population.
This year's census is particularly significant.
The general population and housing census. This population census of this year is not just all about the population, but it's about the population, the housing, even the livestock and agricultural perspectives will be taken care of.
The senior divisional officer urges the population to collaborate with enumerators to ensure the collection of accurate and reliable data.
The message to the population is that the census exercise is not a tax, it's a civic duty. We call on all stakeholders, the religious, traditional authorities, to sensitize their population, to talk to their population, to receive these enumerators, and to encourage population to treat them well in order for the exercise to be successful.
Instructions have been issued to intensify work across the 3 subdivisions in order to guarantee the success of the exercise.
To the Northwest region, where the people of Bangolan stormed the office of the Minister of Territorial Administration that was earlier yesterday protesting over what they described as a forceful ruling of their people by an already dethroned chief. The locals, who have been for 10 years without a traditional ruler, are pleading with the Minister Paul Atanganji to intervene so a new chief can be enthroned. Mala Glory reports on the protest that took place at the Minister's office in Yaoundé.
They all marched to the office of the Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, with peace messages inscribed on the placards. The people of Bangolan in Babisi subdivision, Gokitunja division of the Northwest region are protesting against the chief for holding onto power after being dethroned by the community.
We need peace in the village. We need peace. For the past 10 years, youths, notables, and even women they find themselves in situations that they cannot explain.
He arrests so many people. He arrests me. I have just come out from detention in Bamenda.
They are accusing the traditional ruler of committing sacrilege in the village.
Senator Chafa went on and destroyed all the shrines of Bangolan because of Christianity. As he did that, Bangolan now say no. If you believe to be a Christian, you have already resigned as a fund. So give way so that they can enthrone the new fund.
The natives of Bangolan angrily stormed the premises of the Territorial Administration Minister in Yaoundé to express their frustration over a chief who has decided to use force in ruling his people.
The village reject him. He came in with military, torturing people again, forcing people to accept him.
Their main objective, according to the protesters, is to acquire a legal document permitting them to appoint and enthrone a new traditional ruler according to their customs and traditions.
Over 10 years we have living without the fund, and we are requesting that this time around the Minister of Territory should solve our problem. We expect him to wipe Chafa's name, that he is not the fund of Bangolan. Traditionally we dethrone Chafa. We are waiting for the order to present the new incumbent fund.
After ruling the people for 33 years, the chief of Bangolan is now rejected by his own people, who are accusing him for not respecting the tradition. Ever since his dethronement, according to locals 10 years ago, the village of Bangolan has been unstable.
And the camp of Fon Shafa explained that the palace was burnt down and it's difficult for the Fon Shafa to go back to the village. In other news, following an investigation ordered by the head of state into illegal mining in Cameroon, the interim minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development is currently in the Betare Oya subdivision in the East region to compel all mining operators, including foreigners, to comply with regulations or shut down. Today, 3 Chinese companies were closed in Betare Oya for violating the law. In Betare Oya alone, 170 mining sites are operating illegally. They will be all closed. The crackdown will continue in Baturi. That would be as from tomorrow. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
In a move to combat illegal mining activities in Cameroon, the interim Minister of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, Professor Fu Calistus Gentry, is in the Lom and Jerem division in the east region of the country. He has announced the end of unauthorized mining operations in the region. The initiative marks a step towards restructuring the artisanal and semi-mechanized mining sector in Cameroon. On a joint mission, officials of the Ministry of Mines, Industry and Technological Development, the National Mining Corporation, SONAMIN, the Permanent National Secretariat of the Kimberley Process, and the Secretariat of State for Defense executed a comprehensive operation in Betare Oya and Zembe Borongo. During the mission, they seized mining equipment, dismantled production units and destroyed electrical installations, effectively clearing the site of illegal miners. The operators present were formally instructed to vacate the premises, underscoring the government's commitment to curbing illegal gold mining in Cameroon. Professor Fu Calistus Gentry emphasized that artisanal and semi-mechanized mining cannot occur under an exploitation permit, reinforcing the legal framework surrounding mining activities. The crackdown is the first phase in a broader strategy aimed at regulating gold mining in the east region of Cameroon. The delegation also visited several mining sites, including Klimat Dubai and Bozen mining in Betare Oya, as well as Shenzhen and Galaxy mining in the Zembe Borongo area. In addition to the immediate vacate orders, the minister highlighted the designated area of over 3,000 kilometers square for semi-mechanized gold mining, which is now available for legitimate operations. To facilitate a structured mining environment, 4 strict obligations must be met by all operators. Operators are required to ensure environmental protection by paying a deposit of 63 million francs yearly for 21 hectares and obtaining certification for environmental compliance. A simplified mining tax of 25% and a 5% export tax along with a 1.5% contribution to the mining policy implementation fund must be adhered to. Operators must commit to a minimum production of 5 kilograms of gold per month based on the number of pits recognized by the authorities. There is an obligation to transition to a closed system gold mining operation within 6 months, a system that has been previously outlined to the operators. The initiative is part of the government's broader strategy to regulate the mining sector and ensure sustainable practices while enhancing the economic contribution of the mining industry in Cameroon.
And now let's listen to the Minister of Mines, Fu Callistus Gentry, in this excerpt selected by Babila Jonathan.
As I stand here, this equipment will leave because there's a presidential inquiry why there's illegal gold mining in Cameroon. Cameroon is getting nothing out of it. The president of Cameroon has signed a law that this kind of activity cannot take place inside the system. We are not driving Climat Dubai. We are only saying that you should follow legality. We have 3,000 square kilometers of free land where you can go and set up, but you cannot do this activity in a research permit. And even if you have to do it, you don't have a semi-mechanized license. That is the first thing. Because they can never give you a semi-mechanized license in a research permit. It's impossible because it's signed by the head of state. So that means that this activity, as I stand here, has to stop today. I'm sorry. And we are going, it's not here. I was with the Chinese ambassador and he asked me, is it against Chinese only? No, it's against illegality. Cameroon exported 15 tons of gold to Dubai. But what was registered out of this country is not up to 1 ton. So the state is not benefiting anything from the activity. It's useless.
Meantime, several amputees or handicapped persons have testified that the Associated Rehabilitation Center in the Banda Mar 14 Iromboya have given them when they seem to have lost hope. It gave them hope. This was as the institution commemorated 4 decades of its existence, rehabilitating handicapped persons in the country, especially those who find themselves in the northwest and especially in the southwest region. Rex Afon tells us more from Boya.
For 40 years now, the Associated Rehabilitation Center for the Handicapped, ARCH in Dipanda, has stood as a beacon of hope for those who have lost a vital part of their bodies, whether due to unfortunate circumstances or natural causes. During the celebrations marking the conclusion of a series of activities commemorating its 40th anniversary, the administrator of the center highlighted the remarkable strides it has made over the decades.
When we look at ARCH after 40 years and we want to talk about success, we'll talk about the lives that we have touched, the persons who came on stretchers and are walking today, the smiles on the faces of amputees who lost hope because either through accident or due to the ongoing socio-political crisis, they lost their limb, but now they are able to feel like life continues and things are normal. So those are the things we count on as success.
In a mass celebrated by the Bishop of the Boya Diocese, Michael Bibi, beneficiaries whose lives and perspectives have been profoundly transformed by the center shared testimonies of its lasting impact.
I have this accident. I was on the bikes and the car hit us. When the car hit us, I lost my driver. I suffered for more than 7 years. But God still raised me up and He healed me.
The local community within which the center operates also attests that it has been a tremendous blessing.
There are small things that many people could be suffering from, especially stroke, which the community has benefited from. But for the people who are coming here, they are benefiting from the community because within our community we have made it a point, especially in our church, that every week a group must have to visit us.
With the celebrations of these significant achievements drawing to a close, the leaders of the center have pledged to continue being a source of hope for those who feel their hope has been lost.
In politics, 6 months after President Paul Biya's re-election, Cameroon is yet to form a new government. The delay stands in sharp contrast with the Republic of Congo, where a full cabinet was named just 1 week after the president's inauguration. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
6 months after Paul Biya secured an 8th term in office in Cameroon, Cameroon has yet to announce a new government, drawing contrast with the Republic of Congo, where a full cabinet was installed within 1 week of the presidential inauguration. Paul Biya was re-elected in Cameroon on October 12, 2025, and as of April 28, 2026, the government appointed prior to the election remains in office. No ministerial reshuffle or new appointments have been made public to the Cameroonian people. The situation differs markedly from development in the neighboring Republic of Congo. President Denis Sassou Nguesso was re-elected on March 15, 2026 with over 94% of the total votes count according to official results. He was sworn into office on April the 17th, and on April 24th, a new government comprising 41 ministers was announced. Besides being two CEMAC sub-regional states, both countries are led by long-serving heads of state, notably Denis Sassou Nguesso, who's been in power since 1979, and Paul Biya, who served Cameroon since 1982. The absence of a new government in Cameroon 6 months after a presidential election has been noted by regional media and political observers. The current cabinet continues to manage state affairs under mandate that predates October 12, 2025. Analysts point to several implications of this delay. A post-election government typically serves to implement the program on which the president campaigned and to reflect the political mandate obtained at the ballot box. The extended continuation of the previous cabinet raises questions regarding policy direction and administrative accountability following the election. The Constitution of Cameroon, however, does not specify a mandatory time frame for the formation of a new government after a presidential election. However, the practice in several Central African states has been to announce a new executive shortly after inauguration to mark a beginning of a new dawn. The contrast with Congo's post-election process has generated commentaries in the sub-region. While it remains speculative to interpret Congo's action as a message to Cameroon, the timeline demonstrates that rapid government formation following an election cycle is administratively feasible. The prolonged political status quo in Cameroon therefore continues as the country faces economic, security and social challenges that typically requires ministerial leadership and policy initiatives derived from a renewed executive mandate.
Meanwhile, a silent drift is sweeping somehow through Cameroon's phone market, where thousands of devices risk fading out under the new tax rules. At Ancien Troisième in Aqua-Douala, traders and also consumers are now navigating a high-stakes system where every imported phone must be cleared, registered, or risk being rendered useless. Innocent Ase made a stopover at Ancien Troisième. He spoke with phone dealers and also consumers. He compounds their assessment of the new taxation policy on imported mobile phones in the report which comes up next.
In Cameroon, buying a mobile phone is no longer a simple exchange. It has become a controlled process where one mistake could leave your device completely cut off from the network.
Since they said already that they are going to block it, there's nothing we have to do. We'll just see what we are going to do.
Since April 1, 2026, authorities have enforced a new taxation system requiring all imported mobile phones to be declared, taxed, and registered using their IMEI numbers before activation. Any device not captured in the national database is automatically blocked by telecom operators, rendering it unable to make calls, send messages or access the internet.
Quelqu'un qui a dépensé de l'argent pour acheter son téléphone et comme bloque, il ne peut plus avoir un téléphone, il faudrait qu'il achète un téléphone à nouveau. C'est mauvais.
In Douala's key commercial hub like Aqua, the impact is already visible.
It's becoming very, very difficult because this new law has made in such a way that we have price increase in phones, and it's not easy for more importers. The difficulties we have is that, you see, here in Cameroon, we don't tell the truth to maybe the government about phones. What they know is that phones we import from outside, the original phones. Meanwhile, that's not the truth. Phones that we import here, they are second-hand phones. And then the taxes they impose on us, they are on new phones. Meanwhile, the phones we import, they are fairly used phones. So it becomes very difficult for us, the buyers and the importers.
Les ventes sont en baisse.
Traders say the new rules are forcing them to rethink their supply chains with fears of losses from non-compliant stock.
I don't think I'm well placed to explain the situation or maybe the possible solutions that we have already established to solve the problem. With all the stock that we are having, we are going to find difficulties in it. We are going to sell them before time.
La mesure est très très forte, très exagérément forte.
For consumers, rising prices and uncertainty are becoming the new reality as taxes push costs higher and trust becomes a key factor in every purchase.
Je pense que les Camerounais ne sont pas prêts pour ça parce que je pense que quelque chose de pareil, il faut prendre le temps. Le moment n'est pas bien choisi, quoi.
It's going to bring us so many losses, but the government, we just have to do with it.
As the government tightens control to fight smuggling and boost revenue, Cameroon's mobile phone market is undergoing a major shift where every handset must be verified or risk going completely silent.
Thanks, Innocent. And that brings us to the end of the first part of the news. Let's move on to Talking Points, viewers. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is Dr. Barrister NKAMUAH Limen. Thank you, Dr. Barrister, for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. Now, as long as the bloodshed in the northwest and southwest regions continue, we can't be silent. Today, we come back to the killing of about 14 civilians during a festival in the Zeremyam village in the Bui division of the northwest region. Dr. Barrister NKAMUAH Limen, as an Anglophone and as an active civil society actor in Cameroon, what was your immediate reaction when you heard of another massacre in the northwest region?
You know, like every other Anglophone, I was extremely saddened by that information because one would have thought that with the coming and going of the Pope, that something would change. Unfortunately, it's like they took a break, and when he went back, the killings intensified. I express my sincere condolences to the bereaved families, and I honestly call on the government to come this time around and resolve this problem.
And Barrister, you just mentioned the Pop's presence in Cameroon. This is happening, the massacre happened a few days after Pope Leo left the country. He recommended frank dialogue. He spoke against spilling blood for military or political gains. The Sovereign Pontiff left. Won't it be fair to say that the Pope preached in the desert and his teachings against wasting billions of franc CFA, killing each other in a war, fell on deaf ears, Barrister?
That if you agree with me that when he came there was kind of ceasefire, and I think there were some expectations that the warring factions were expecting. For example, maybe the separatists, they thought there was going to be a follow-up immediately. He came and left, and unfortunately nothing was done. I've said in other interviews that it was an occasion for the government to take the opportunity that at least somebody has come and he has preached peace to engage meaningful dialogue with the separatists. Unfortunately, that has not been done, and the state is still as silent as before, and it's getting worse. you know, because some few days after there was looting and killing in, I think, the road to Kumba, and then we have now Kumbo. It is bad. And one will ask, therefore, what is the government doing? What is the follow-up after the Pope's visit to Cameroon? Honestly, I thought the government would react when the Pope left. Maybe you start by appointing a prime minister, the vice president of the republic, and we should be a choice that Cameroonians could see, kind of unity, kind of peace, a peace bearer. One would have thought so, but nothing has been done, and then they picked up arms, and it's getting worse. So I think that, you know, the person that has to initiate peace is the person that has the powers. And it's the government. The government has to initiate this peace.
And just to add some little water in your blender, Barrister, we heard earlier on the president of the National Episcopal Conference, His Grace Andrew Nkea, who said after the Pope's visit, what next? So he was explaining that commissions would be created subsequently to implement the Pope's recommendations. Now, coming back to the crisis, the Anglophone crisis, unfortunately, seems very far from being over, Barrister. Can we say that we are still also very far away from seeing the light at the end of the tunnel?
I think it's still very far away from us because the government is not taking the necessary actions that will lead to peace. You know, what is this problem that the government think that they cannot discuss with these people? What is it? The terrorists or the separatists are killing, they are revendicating something, and the government, to me, ought to have followed the steps of late Cardinal Tumi, who wanted the All Anglophone Conference. That would have been a platform where Anglophones will come and discuss their grievances, and maybe from there they get some leaders to discuss with the state. But the government did not follow up, and then we have this stalemate that the government does not want to talk. They have not identified anybody to talk with. I think that if the government does not assume the responsibility it has, that is to protect its citizens, many more people will die, unfortunately. Still in the same terms, I want to call on the separatists that there is an international law governing arms conflict. That's the Geneva Convention 124 and the protocols that they must respect. Civilians and their properties should not be a target. And then, when you say that the government is saying that it's not them, in whatever way you look at it, the government is responsible. Either they failed to protect the people or they were part of it. So if they are not part of it, then they failed in their duty to protect the citizens. And you know for sure that the government has the duty, the mandate to protect the citizens. And so if the government was not there and some people came and killed about 14, 15 individuals, the state cannot say that they had no responsibility.
Okay. Let's now talk about the war. When the Pope was here, separatists dropped their arms to welcome him. As he left, bloodshed continues right behind his back, which means the war can end somehow. There can be a truce, a ceasefire. From your observations, Barrister, what faction do you think is adamant to a ceasefire?
I'll say lack of will from the two sides. The government has manifested all these years that for the past 10 years, if I'm not wrong, that they cannot have a meaningful dialogue with these people. You see, it is not strange. It is not. We know for sure that the government has not taken the adequate steps to resolve the Anglophone, to resolve the terrorist issue, because the terrorist issue is a bit different from the global Anglophone problem. Now, to the separatists too. It is wrong to kill innocent civilians. When you kill, what is your target? If your target is to change the constitution, if your target is to change the government, how does killing civilians help you to attain that objective? It doesn't. So it is both ways. Nobody is doing what is right. But yet, who has the responsibility to protect the citizens? It is the government. And so the government must take necessary steps to see that the citizens are being protected.
Dr. Barrister NKAMUAH, about 10 years after the Anglophone crisis is still neglected, a people crying in the rain for over a decade. It is considered, I'm talking about the crisis, the Anglophone crisis, it is considered one of the most neglected crises in the world. Why do you think the Anglophone crisis is so neglected or ignored, and the suffering of the people seemingly taking very little consideration or attention?
What is not neglected in this country? Everything is neglected. If you look at the ministers, can you tell me that they do their job well? If you look at the garbage, I say when you move and you see the garbage around, it reflects the kind of government we have. I've been saying that. So what works? Nothing works here. Because it's not like the other regions are being treated better than Anglophones. The whole country is poorly managed. But yet, as I said, we have a peculiarity that Anglophones have tested this federalism and good governance, and so we always want to go back to those which are good, which is something good. So the country, first of all, we have a country where people, the authorities are not doing their job as they should do, and then we have disgruntled people who picked up arms, which I condemn. I still say I condemn, who pick up arms against, not even against the state, but against the Anglophones. Because here we have a situation where Anglophones kill Anglophones. I said sometime that I cannot even go back to my region of origin. I cannot go to the Northwest because I just think that anybody could be killed. I have a friend, Senator Kemende of blessed memory. He was opposition, but he was killed. And so it is 10 years, it's not 10 days. I think both parties must look for a way to end this nonsense. It is actually nonsense that anybody should think that you get up in the morning, you're not sure to come back to your house in the evening because somebody has a bullet, somebody has a gun, and somebody can kill you. It is not correct.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Dr. Barrister NKAMUAH Limen. No normal being can be silent or indifferent to the bloodshed happening in the northwest and southwest regions. That has been, it has been 10 years already. And like we always say, one death is one death too many in that war. Thank you, Barrister, and hope to have you some other time. And viewers, that does it for this edition of the news. We thank you for always being there. Our programs continue tonight. Equinoxe will be yours in about 30 minutes with Sajaleng, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Irish. And hopefully, we will be together tomorrow again, same time, God willing. Bye-bye for now.